Cool. Give it a little bit of time before, let little people come in. All right. Oh, bad hair day. Oh, shit. What's up, homie? Oh, nice. Yo, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? Y'all doing good? Can y'all even hear me? All right, cool. Letting a couple people join. Yo, what's up, Doug? How you doing? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but GZO25, man, what's up, man? Thank you so much. All right, thank you. All right, nice. Cool, guys. Cool. Love this. All right. Shoot, thank y'all for tuning in. I will be going over the Dana White Contender Series. This is week 1 in the Dana White Contender Series. So this, honestly, it's just still pretty cool, man. Like the Dana White Contender Series, after a year, I'm still kind of in the I'm in the what's it called? I'm in the UFC now. Like after going in, fighting on the Contender Series, and then going out there earning my contract, and now I'm in the UFC. I think this is pretty. I think this is still pretty badass. And thank you for the Scrap News for letting me do the Instagram takeover on this one. 15, about a 15-minute thing. Go over every single fight. See which fights I like and which fights which fights I'm really gonna be keeping my eye on. At the end of the day, I really hope every single one of these guys get their contracts because on my show everybody got a contract, so this is pretty cool. And you might see the next up and coming star and everything, so that to me is pretty cool to look at. So just coming in, man. Week 1, man. I got week 1. That's I got week 1. That's pretty cool. Starting off first, we got AJ Fletcher versus Leonardo. I'm butchering the name, bro. I'm gonna butcher the name. Damani. And then second fight, we got Victor Altamirano versus Carlos Candelario. God, I'm really messing up these names. Easy one. Diego Lopez versus Joe Anderson Burrito. And we got a Russian. All right. Osman Mirzakanov. Yeah. Then Matthias Shafel. All right, guys. Dude, they're getting people from all over the world right now, so I think that's pretty cool. Mana boy, I will get you some picks. All right. So kind of starting off first, I got AJ Fletcher versus Leonardo Damani. So AJ Fletcher has 3 KOs, 4 subs, and 1 decision. I'll say right now his competition going into contenders, it hasn't been. It's not the strongest, but also he's kind of done what he's needed to do against these opponents. Every single time you step in, you fight those easier guys. You're supposed to do you're supposed to go in there and finish those guys. And as much as I want to sit here and say that it doesn't look good on record or doesn't look good on the record, he does have a lot of finishes. The only decision that I see that he has is against a guy named David Armas, and honestly, I've seen David Armas fight live, and he's like a Houston guy, so I personally seen this guy fight so many times that like the toughest of the toughest have fought him and not finished this guy. This guy is just one of those. He's not going to be finished, so I could completely understand why he didn't get this finish. But every single fight after that, he's finished every single one of them. So I'm he's a good fighter, and I actually can't wait to see this fight. He's going against a guy named Leonardo. 2 KOs, 6 submissions, and 2 decisions. I will say that he does have a stiff. He did have a stiffer. He did fight the stronger competition. A lot of the stronger competition. And I think a lot of times whenever you fight the stronger competition, already leading into like a bigger stage, you're already going to be ready for those guys in the UFC or the contenders, whoever you got facing off in front of you. Uh, all in all, like, cause just looking at the last three that Leonardo had, a guy who was 6-2, another guy who was 10-5, another guy who was 5-1, then going back to AJ Fletcher and looking at his last three. His last three was a guy who was 3-4. Next guy was 9-17. Then he fought a guy that was 6-3. Uh, I don't know if those were last minute or canceled fights or whatever, but I'm just the guy that's looking at this, and because I fought the tougher competition going into the Contender Series, and honestly, it made it so much easier for me knowing that I go in there and I've already fought tough competition, and looking across the cage, looking at that guy and being like, "Oh snap! Like this is the toughest fight I had." Whenever I got into the contenders, that wasn't the toughest fight I had. So, I think fighting the tougher competition does make a difference, but also is like sometimes, like, I don't know what it was with AJ Fletcher's. I don't know if there was canceled fights or whatever, but he's been really active and he's finished every single one of them. So honestly, on my end, everybody's saying on Tapology that they really that they think that AJ Fletcher is gonna take this. I'll give a slight edge to Leonardo, just because he's fought the tougher competition. Yo, what's up, Katie? Uh, I'll give it the slight edge to Leonardo. He's fought the tougher competition, and I think whenever you fight the competition already heading into the Contender Series, it does wonders whenever you're in there. Still, man, AJ's a tough guy. He's finished everybody except for one person, so he did what he was supposed to do with all those guys. Going on to the next fight, we have Victor Altamirano versus Carlos. Man, I'm butchering these names. Versus Carlos. Victor versus Carlos. I'm just gonna stick with that. The flyweights, man. I love the little guys, because I'm a 35er, so I'm always keeping my eyes glued, especially for the small guys. They're speedy, they're fast, and they make entertaining fights. I don't care what any of y'all say. So Victor, he has 4 submissions, 1 KO, and 4 decisions. And then Carlos has 3 subs, 2 KO, and 3 decisions. All right, so Carlos, he's fought in the Contender Series before. Every fight before that, and I guess a little bit after that, he actually doesn't have the stiffer competition. If I'm looking at this like his last three fights, 5-4. The guy they fought was 5-4. The next guy he fought was 6-0, which was in the Contender Series, so he has experience of being in the contenders. And then the guy before that, when he was 5-0, he fought a guy that was 1-2. Again, I'm the guy that's always leaning to, like, if you fought the tougher competition, you're already more proven, and there's a little bit more to work with. Victor, he's fought for LFA, and LFA doesn't throw you any chumps. It's all tough fighters every single day. So every single time you step in there, you're gonna have tough fights. They're never gonna give you a gimme fight. And what I mean by gimme fight is that Victor, in his last fight, he's 8-1. He fights a guy who was 6-1. A guy before that, he fought a guy named Lloyd McKinney. While Victor was 7-1, he fought a guy that was 14-1. And whenever he was 6-1, he fought a guy that was 4-1. So every single time he's fighting somebody who has a proven record, fighting a guy that has more wins than losses. And honestly, like, I take a look at that, and I just know that he's already fought the tougher competition. Even though that Carlos is already fought in the contenders, he has the experience of fighting in the contenders. I'm actually gonna give my edge to Victor. He's tough. He's tough. He's durable, and he's also won the flyweight champ. He was the flyweight champ for LFA, I believe so. But honestly, I'm giving this to an LFA veteran as like myself. I think Victor's gonna do this, and I think it goes. Honestly, I think it goes to decision. I give it to Victor, and the next fight we got is Diego Lopez versus Joe Anderson Burrito. All right, I like this fight. I actually really like this fight. This is actually a really good fight. You got a guy in Diego Lopez who's 19-3. That guy has a lot of fights. Yeah, he's out of Mexico, but at the same time, he's has a lot of fights. And I like guys who are active. I like guys who go in there and are fighting on a consistent basis, and that's him. What are your thoughts on these guys with huge records on the contender this year? Honestly, I love it. Like I absolutely love it because a lot of these guys they've been working to get to this shot. They've been working to get onto the UFC, and honestly, the more you fight, the more you get more in cage experience, and the more, man, I'll actually kind of bring it back to something Saif Saif said, Coach Saif from Fortis MMA. Those guys, like he told me before, he actually told me whenever I fought Kyle Estrada, he's like, by the time you get to the UFC, you're already gonna have so many fights that as soon as you step in that octagon, you're just gonna be like, oh wow, this is it. Nothing's different. You're not gonna have the jitters. And honestly, fighting like Diego Lopez himself is 19-3, 22 fights, and he's gonna step into the octagon of the Contender Series. Man, like that myself is just gonna be like, all right, he's gonna be able to control his nerves a little bit more. And also the guy that he's fighting too is 11-2, 11-2-1. So he has quite a bit of experience himself. And honestly, it's really good. This guy has 6 subs, 4 TKOs, and 1 decision. Diego Lopez has 11 submissions, 6 TKOs or KOs, and 2 decisions. Both these guys are finishers, and honestly, I love that. I love looking at a fight and just seeing that none of these guys go to decision really. Like out of 22 fights, only 2 have went to decision, and that to me is still crazy. Not like, man, I love that. I love a finisher. I love a good finisher, and that's what Diego Lopez brings. That's what Joe Anderson Burrito brings. I am gonna go Diego Lopez. You know, I gotta stick with the guys. I gotta stick with those Mexico guys, man. I see a lot of Mexican fighters coming up on the Contender Series, and I really think that they're gonna be able to pull this off. You know, Diego Lopez was a champ in the Lux fighting promotion, and his last three fights, 3 or 4 fights he's fought some tougher competition, and he's stopped a couple of them. So I think Diego Lopez takes it, but also Burrito. Man, he has fought the toughest competition since the very beginning, so he might be already used to fighting that tough competition already. He's fought. Let's just look at his last 3 fights: 9-3, 9-0, 18-4. Actually, we can go down to 5, 6-0, 24-7. A fight before that, I don't know what happened, but he fought a 1-4 fighter. So let me just say it like this: at when he was 2-2, he fought a guy who was 5-0. At 3-2, he fought a guy that was 8-5. But at 4-2, he fought a guy that was 10-6. He was consistently fighting tougher competition every single step in the way. The only slip up that he has in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In his last 10 fights, he's only had one guy who I would consider a can or a duck. So that fight on top of it is just going to be a really great fight. I am giving the edge to Diego Lopez just because he's fought so many more times, and honestly, out of all of his fights, he's only went to the decision. He's only went to decision twice in his wins, and all the rest of them are TKOs and submissions. I think 17 fights are finishes, and other 2 are decisions. So, man, he's up there. I'm putting my edge on Diego Lopez. A great fight. Also, I'm pretty biased on that one because I actually really like Diego. I met him before. He's a really good guy. So biasy, I'll take it 100%. And let me look at the chat a little bit. I believe that Can took the fight on short notice as well. Lopez has some very tough competition. Yeah, absolutely. That I don't know what those problems. Tapology usually has a really good way to say, hey, you got to cancel bout. These fights are have been canceled. But like I don't know when it comes to overseas or different countries or anything like that. Because you can look at any U.S. fighter on Tapology and look and see whenever they have or haven't had a canceled fight, and or a pulled fight. So to me, I don't know who's pulled out of what, who's in these competitions. So Diego Lopez might have had a lot more pulls. That's why the competition wasn't as stiff. But he did fight a lot. He did fight some really good competition in his last 3 to 4. Joanderson Burrito was definitely his whole entire career has been tough guys. Going on to the next fight. All right, let me move on. Okay, so we got. All right, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce these guys' last names. Osman versus Matthias. Mattheus. So, man, this one to me is gonna be a really good one. I like. I like this fight. I like this fight a lot, man. I just he's. Let me see. Let me take a look. Cause all right, I got notes. I don't know why I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. I got notes. So Osman has six KOs, 1 submission, and 2 decisions. And you have Matthias, who has 10 KOs and 4 decisions. Uh, let me keep looking. I'm not really too informed on this fight, but I really want to watch it. Like this, like because a lot of these Russian guys, a lot of these guys from overseas, we're starting to get a lot more crop. We're getting a bigger crop of overseas fighters, in which we need. We absolutely need. So these Russians are starting to take over, but in the bantamweight division, we're not going to let that happen. But so looking at Matthews, am I on? No, I'm on Osman. So his last three fights, he fought. He fought some good competition. Well, 2 out of the 3 were good competition. From what I'm looking at, somebody pulled out of the fight, and he had to fight a 0-3 guys. So, that's the thing about a lot of these regional shows. You end up getting guys who pull out a lot, and then all of a sudden you end up fighting some guy who you really didn't want to fight. So, honestly, I'm looking at this and I'm liking it. A lot of people on Tapology are thinking Osman's going to take it. Let me take another look at his opponent. The guy is tough, and he's fought some tough competition. He's fought some really tough competition. His last 3 fights, he's 2-1 in his last 3 fights, but they're all against good fighters. A 12-3, he finished that guy, and then he went 10. He fought a guy who was 10-9, went to the decision with him. And then he lost to a guy who was 10-3. But the fight before that, he fought a guy that was 11-6. He's fought some good competition since his early days. But from what it looks like, he's had a pretty good career. He's lost to every guy who's like every time he's had to take the step up, he's lost to that guy. And honestly, if I'm looking at it, I'm gonna go with Amzat on this one. Asmat or Asmat or whatever. I'm sorry. These guys are I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these guys' names, so I'm sorry. But yeah, my fight to look out for is definitely going to be Diego Lopez versus Joanderson Burrito. I think that one's going to be a really good fight. A lot like they are finishers, and I definitely believe this fight's going to be a finish. I got my eyes on that one. Then also the next one that I think is going to be fun. It's going to be a fun fight to watch, but I think it goes all 3 is Victor versus Carlos. And then the other 2 fights, I think they're great as well. So just go ahead and keep your eyes on it, because I might be wrong. I might have got some stuff wrong, and at the end of the day, just watch the whole card. There was a hashtag by somebody that I follow, and they were saying watch the damn prelims. Hashtag watch the damn prelims. And honestly, every single fight in the contenders you have to watch. You have to absolutely watch, because man, if you would have missed out on a lot of these great fights and great fighters coming up, man. Dan Ige started off on the contenders. Sean O'Malley started off on the contenders, and everybody. There's a lot of people before that, man. Dude, I myself was on the contenders, and actually, let me just go ahead and switch my hat, Bad Hair Day, to my contender series hat. Yeah, I'm Team Contender Series. I'm an alum, so I'm hoping they go back to this blue and not, that weird green. So, honestly, this is gonna be fun, man. There's a lot of superstars there that can potentially come out the Contender Series. Keep looking, man. Keep looking. Yep, I like it. I like it. Sounds like Lopez. Yeah, absolutely. I'm taking that fight. Honestly, well, let me give you all my bets. Like you can either parlay this or whatever, but I'm picking Diego Lopez. I am gonna pick Victor just because he fought the toughest competition. Osman, I am gonna pick him, but also I'm gonna go with the other guy, not AJ Fletcher, but Leonardo. Those guys definitely, I'd put them in a parlay. But honestly, if you want my for sure pick, I think Diego Lopez does it by submission. If you want to throw in a prop, that's the one I would go with. Victor versus Carlos. I think that goes all three. So I don't know if you want to pick. I don't know if you want to pick Victor and then also do the it goes the distance. So there we go. Yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. Man, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for tuning in on the Scrap News. Give them a follow. Also, give me a follow at Adrian Yanez 93 on Instagram. Thank y'all so much, man. Y'all are amazing.